Long ago in the village of Umuala, a widower named Okonkwo remarried after years of loneliness. His new wife, Adiz, came with her only daughter, Nina. At first, the village rejoiced. They thought Okonkwo's compound would now be filled with warmth, laughter, and new beginnings. But peace does not always grow where envy sleeps. Okonkwo already had a daughter from his first marriage. Her name was Ifunanya, gentle, kind, and loved by all. Where Ifunanya's voice was soft like palm wine poured slowly into a calabash, Nina's was sharp like broken pottery. From the very first day, she looked at her new sister with disdain. "Do not think this is your home," Nina whispered to Ifunanya one evening, as the moon silvered the compound. "My mother and I will make sure you know your place." At first, Ifunanya laughed it off. She thought the bitterness of a girl brought into a new family would fade with time. But Nina's heart was a stone, unyielding, unmoved. She mocked Ifunanya when they fetched water. She scattered sand in her food. She even whispered lies to her mother, who in turn poisoned Okonkwo's ears. Slowly, Ifunanya's once joyous laughter turned into cautious silence. Yet, the ancestors were watching. The marketplace of Umuala was the heart of the village. Women with wrappers tied firmly at their waists sold yams, smoked fish, palm oil, and peppers that burned like fire. Children ran between stalls, their laughter mingling with the cries of traders. And it was here, among the noise of bargaining, that Nina began to show her true nature. Whenever she was sent with Ifunanya to the market, she made sure mischief followed them. She would deliberately tip over baskets of tomatoes and blame her stepsister. She would hide cowries from the money pouch and accuse Ifunanya of stealing. Traders, believing Nina's lies, began to whisper among themselves. "That girl, Ifunanya, she is not as pure as she looks." Shame followed Ifunanya like a shadow. Each time her father scolded her, Adiz, Nina's mother, stood aside smiling quietly, satisfied with her daughter's schemes. For Adiz carried her own envy. She wanted Nina to inherit Okonkwo's wealth, not the gentle Ifunanya. But one day, an old woman selling kola nuts stopped Nina in her tracks. She held Nina's gaze with eyes like burning coals and said, "Child, the path you walk is narrow and filled with thorns. Remember, spirits see what men ignore." Nina laughed, but her laughter was hollow. The words lingered, like the echo of a drum at night. In Umuala, every new moon brought ritual offerings to Ani, the earth goddess. On one such night, Okonkwo prepared a white goat for sacrifice. He entrusted Ifunanya with feeding the goat until dawn, for he believed her pure heart would keep it calm. But Nina could not bear to see her sister trusted with such honor. In the stillness of midnight, she crept to the goat's pen with a sharp piece of broken calabash. Malice burned in her chest as she whispered, "Let us see who father trusts after this." She cut the goat's tether, letting it escape into the night. At dawn, when the villagers gathered for the ritual, the goat was gone. Gasps filled the air. Fingers pointed. And Nina, tears brimming in her eyes, cried out, "I saw Ifunanya sleeping instead of watching. She let the goat wander." Okonkwo's anger was a storm. He raised his staff and nearly struck his daughter, but the chief priest stopped him. The priest's eyes narrowed on Nina. "Truth is like oil," he said slowly. "No matter how deep you sink it in water, it will rise." Still, Ifunanya bore the shame. She wept that night beneath the great Udala tree. And as her tears touched the roots, a strange wind whispered through the branches. A warning, a promise, a coming reckoning. One evening, Okonkwo returned from the farm carrying palm wine in a clay calabash. He handed it to Ifunanya, asking her to serve him and the guests who sat beneath the moonlight. But Nina's jealous eyes followed closely. As Ifunanya poured the wine, Nina slipped behind her and deliberately brushed against her arm. The calabash fell, shattering on the hard earth. The sweet smell of palm wine filled the air, mingling with gasps from the guests. Nina clutched her cheek as if struck, and cried out dramatically, "Father!" She pushed me away in anger. The guests frowned, their eyes darting between the sisters. Okonkwo's face tightened with shame. "Ifunanya," he thundered, "how long will your pride bring dishonor to my household?" Ifunanya fell to her knees, her voice trembling. "Father, I swear on the spirits of our ancestors, I did no such thing." But Adiz quickly interjected, her voice sweet as poisoned honey. "Okonkwo, can you not see? Your daughter cannot bear that Nina now shares in your home." Silence fell heavy. Ifunanya's tears dropped like rain into dust. That night, she sat outside alone, staring at the stars. And far above, lightning flickered though there was no storm. The ancestors were restless. The land itself seemed to hum with warning. The next day, Adiz gave both girls a task. "Go to the forest and bring back bundles of firewood," she said, her eyes glinting. "But remember, the first to return will earn the blessing of this household." Ifunanya tied her wrapper firmly and walked quietly toward the forest. Nina smirked, following with malice in her heart. In the dense thickets, while Ifunanya bent to gather dry sticks, Nina devised a wicked plan. She scattered thorns in Ifunanya's path. She hid sharp stones beneath the pile of sticks. And finally, she pushed Ifunanya into a shallow ditch filled with mud. "Stay there, bush rat!" Nina spat before running off with her bundle. When Nina returned home, Adiz clapped proudly. "See? My daughter is hardworking." But hours passed, Ifunanya did not return. The villagers grew anxious. Okonkwo sent men to the forest, where they found her trembling, wounded, and covered in mud. The villagers carried her home, murmuring among themselves, "Why does calamity follow only this girl?" That night, as Ifunanya slept fitfully, she dreamt of a river spirit, its voice deep and echoing. "Do not fear, child. For every wound given to you, a mark is carved in the fabric of fate. And soon, the earth will answer." The sun was sinking behind the palm trees when a traveling palm wine tapper entered Umuala. His skin was weathered from long journeys, his calabash gourd slung across his back, and his eyes carried the faraway look of one who had seen both men and spirits. He stopped at Okonkwo's compound to offer fresh wine. The family gathered beneath the moonlight, but the tapper's gaze lingered strangely on Nina. "Your compound holds unrest," he said softly, his voice like distant thunder. "Two daughters, but one heart is as bitter as cola left too long in the sun." Nina rolled her eyes and hissed beneath her breath. Ifunanya bowed her head in silence. The tapper poured 3 cups, one for Okonkwo, one for Adiz, and one for the sisters. But when Nina touched her cup, a small crack split the clay. Wine dripped to the earth. The tapper smiled knowingly. "Ah, the earth itself refuses your offering." A hush fell. Adiz tried to laugh it off, but Okonkwo's spirit was unsettled. He drank no more that night. And as the tapper walked away, his song echoed through the dark. When the child mocks kinship, Ani remembers, Ani remembers. That night, the compound was restless. Okonkwo tossed in his sleep, troubled by dreams of fire consuming his yam barn. Adiz whispered chants under her breath, unsettled by the tapper's words. And Ifunanya, though exhausted, dreamt again of the river spirit. In her dream, the spirit rose from dark waters, cloaked in mist. Its voice echoed like 1,000 drums. "Your pain has been carved into the land. The time of silence ends soon. The stepdaughter's shadow has stretched long, but shadows must always bend before the sun." Ifunanya awoke drenched in sweat. She rose quietly to fetch water from the clay pot, but in the moonlit yard, she froze. Nina stood by the shrine of Ani, muttering strange words, scattering ashes, and tying black cloth around small sticks carved like dolls. Ifunanya gasped softly. Nina spun around, her eyes glinting. "You saw nothing," she hissed. "If you speak, the spirits themselves will turn against you." Fear gripped Ifunanya, but in her heart she knew the ancestors were already awake, watching. That night, a storm broke suddenly over the village, though no season of rain had come. Thunder rattled the huts. Elders whispered, Ani was restless. The Great Yam Festival arrived, a time of joy, feasting, and honoring Ani. Villagers dressed in bright wrappers, drums thundered, and the air was rich with roasted yam, palm oil, and laughter. Okonkwo's household prepared a special dish for the feast, entrusted as always to his daughters. Ifunanya pounded yam in the mortar, her arms glistening with sweat. Nina, however, brewed mischief. As Ifunanya stepped aside to fetch oil, Nina poured bitter herbs into the pot. At the feast, the chief elder lifted a morsel of the pounded yam to his lips. But as he tasted it, his face twisted. He spat it onto the earth. Murmurs rippled. Another elder tried, and coughed violently. Shouts rose. Fingers pointed at Okonkwo's family. Who has brought shame to the festival? Adiz clutched Nina's hand, ready to defend her. But before she could speak, the old kola seller, the same woman who once warned Nina, stepped forward. Her eyes blazed like fire. It is not the gentle one, no. The hand that stirs bitterness is this one. She pointed directly at Nina. The crowd erupted in gasps. Okonkwo's face was ashen. Ifunanya fell to her knees, pleading innocence. Nina trembled but forced a sneer. They will believe me over you, she whispered. But that day, for the first time, doubt darkened her father's eyes. Shame spread like wildfire. Okonkwo withdrew into silence, unsure whom to believe. But Ani, goddess of the land, had already set her course. One evening, Ifunanya was sent once again to fetch firewood. She walked deeper into the forest than before, the silence heavy. Suddenly, the air grew cold. From between the trees, shapes emerged, spirits cloaked in raffia, faces painted in chalk, their footsteps silent upon the earth. Ifunanya froze in terror. But the tallest spirit raised a hand. Fear not, child. We are the messengers of Ani. Your tears have reached the roots of the earth. The balance must be restored. They circled her gently, their voices chanting in unison. Where truth is hidden, it will be revealed. Where evil grows, it will be cut down. The spirits handed her a small calabash filled with clear water. When the lies of your sister reach their peak, pour this water upon the ground. Ani will answer. With that, they vanished like smoke. Ifunanya stumbled home, clutching the calabash. For the first time in months, hope flickered in her heart. But in the shadows of the trees, unseen, Nina had been watching. And hatred burned hotter than ever within her. Nina could not bear it. She had seen the spirit speak with Ifunanya, and jealousy twisted her like a serpent. That night, she whispered to her mother Adiz. They choose her. Always her. But if we end her, all will belong to us. Adiz hesitated. Fear flickered in her eyes. The spirits are already restless. We must tread carefully. But Nina's voice was ice. Mother, do you want me to live in her shadow forever? Father's love? The villagers' respect? Even Ani herself listens to her. No. Ifunanya must fall. Together, they plotted. At dawn, Adiz pretended sweetness, sending Ifunanya to the river to wash clothes. Nina followed secretly, carrying a sharp stone tied in cloth. The river flowed wide and deep, the water glistening under the sun. Ifunanya bent to rinse the garments, humming softly. Nina crept behind her, raising the stone high. But just as she struck, the river surged upward with sudden force. A voice thundered through the waters, deep, resonant, unearthly. Enough! The stone slipped from Nina's hands. She stumbled back, terrified. The river swirled violently, lifting Ifunanya unharmed onto the bank. From the water rose the same spirit that had spoken in dreams. Its gaze locked on Nina. The earth is patient, but not forever. Your reckoning draws near. After the river incident, word spread quickly through Umuala. Children whispered by moonlight. Women shook their heads at the stream. Men muttered by the fire. The river had risen without rain, and all knew what that meant. Ani, goddess of the land, was restless. The council of elders summoned Okonkwo to the village square. The Ojin bell rang, calling everyone to gather. The air was thick with tension as the eldest elder, his beard white as cotton, spoke. Okonkwo, your household is troubled. Your daughter Ifunanya walks with the blessings of the spirits. But the other carries darkness in her heart. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Adi's face flushed with anger. Nina clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms. If this matter is not resolved, the elder continued, Ani will withdraw her favor from this land. Crops will fail, rivers will dry, and sickness will spread. Okonkwo's head hung low. He loved his family, but doubt gnawed at him. Could it be true? That his wife's daughter was cursed? Adiz hissed into his ear. Do not listen to their foolishness. They envy us. They want your wealth for Ifunanya. But Okonkwo's spirit was unsettled. That night, he could not sleep. The words of the elders clung to him like shadows. Nina's hatred had reached boiling point. The whispers of the village, the warning of the elders, and the rising favor of the spirits toward Ifunanya, all these burned her like hot coal. One midnight, she crept into Ifunanya's hut. The moonlight streamed through cracks in the thatched roof. Ifunanya lay sleeping, her face calm, the small calabash of water from the spirits by her side. Nina's eyes gleamed. She snatched the calabash and tiptoed outside. Let us see what Ani will do when her gift is broken, she muttered. She raised the calabash high and smashed it against the ground. But instead of shattering, the water spilled and spread like light, glowing across the earth. The glow crept toward her feet. Panicked, Nina tried to flee, but the glow followed like a snake of fire. She screamed, waking the household. Adiz rushed out, clutching her wrapper, while Okonkwo stumbled into the yard. They watched in horror as the earth beneath Nina's feet cracked slightly, smoke rising. But the glow faded before consuming her. Only silence remained, heavy and dreadful. The villagers arrived, holding palm torches. One muttered, She has touched what is not hers. Ifunanya, trembling, picked up the calabash. It was whole again, unbroken. The ancestors had spoken. The next morning, strange things began to happen. Okonkwo's yam barn, once full and thriving, began to wither. Yams rotted before harvest. Goats refused to eat. The chickens laid no eggs. Whispers spread faster than the Harmattan winds. It is the curse of the stepdaughter, villagers said. Ani is punishing the land because of her wickedness. Nina sneered at their words, but her knees gnawed at her. Even Adiz's eyes betrayed fear. At dusk, an elder woman approached the compound. She held a staff carved with ancient symbols. Her voice was low, steady. The hand that plants evil shall harvest sorrow. Until the guilty one repents or is cast out, your land will suffer. Okonkwo's knees weakened. His pride was torn. Could he drive out his wife's child? Could he divide his household? Adiz wailed, clutching Nina. They want my daughter destroyed. Can't you see? But the signs could not be ignored. That very night, thunder cracked without rain, and a swarm of locusts descended on Okonkwo's farm alone. The rest of the village fields remained untouched. The people began to murmur openly. If he does not cleanse his household, we all will suffer. Every year, Umuala held the Festival of Masks, when spirits were believed to walk among mortals. Masquerades filled the square, their raffia skirts swishing, their painted faces glowing in torchlight. Songs of ancestors rose into the night air. This year, tension clouded the festival. Elders whispered prayers, women clutched charms, and children stayed close to their mothers. Everyone knew Ani's eyes were upon the village. Okonkwo brought his family to the square, hoping the gods would show mercy. Ifunanya walked humbly behind him. Nina strutted proudly, defiant even before the spirits. When the largest masquerade approached, silence fell. Its mask was white as bone, its eyes hollow, its voice deep as a cave. It stopped before the sisters. One hand stretched to Ifunanya, laying a palm on her head. Child of tears, you are seen. Then, slowly, it turned to Nina. The air grew cold. Child of spite, you are weighed. Nina's heart pounded. She forced a laugh, but the masquerade raised its staff, striking the earth. A crack split the ground between them, dust rising. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Adiz clung to Nina, but fear had rooted itself deep in her eyes. The masquerade's voice thundered. When the harvest moon rises, justice will come. The moon grew full and bright, round, golden, and heavy with meaning. The harvest moon, the time when the earth either blesses or curses those who dwell upon her. The villagers gathered in hushed silence, waiting for Ani's judgment. Okonkwo's compound sat heavy with dread. Even Adiz could no longer deny the signs. She pulled Nina aside, her voice shaking. Child, listen to me. Your ways have brought this upon us. Beg Ani. Beg the ancestors. But Nina's pride flared hotter than ever. Never! I will not kneel before that bushrat Ifunanya, nor will I beg the spirits. Let them try. Let Ani herself face me. Her words hung in the air like poison. Suddenly, the sky darkened though no clouds were seen. A strange wind blew, rattling doors, tearing at wrappers. Drums stopped. The villagers froze. And from the earth itself came a rumble, low at first, then louder, shaking the ground. Ifunanya clutched the calabash of water tightly. Her dream returned to her, the spirit's command. She knew the moment had come. As the ground cracked beneath Nina's feet, Ifunanya lifted the calabash high, ready to pour Ani's judgment upon the land. The village gathered in terrified silence. Dust rose as the ground trembled, and the harvest moon glowed blood-red in the sky. Ifunanya held the calabash, her hands steady though her heart pounded like a talking drum. The river spirit's words echoed in her mind. When the lies of your sister reach their peak, pour this water upon the ground. Ani will answer. Nina's eyes blazed with defiance. Do it, she shouted, laughing bitterly. Pour your silly water and let us see what happens. I fear no spirit. Ifunanya closed her eyes, whispered a prayer to her ancestors, and tipped the calabash. Clear water splashed onto the red earth. At once, the ground roared like thunder. A great crack split the earth, racing toward Nina. She stumbled back, screaming. From the fissure, smoke and ghostly hands reached upward, clawing the air. The villagers cried out, falling to their knees. The masquerades raised their staffs, chanting, their voices merging with the howl of the wind. Nina's body trembled violently. Shadows swirled around her form, wrapping her like a snake. Her scream tore through the night, half human, half something darker. Ani had answered. Judgment had begun. Adiz rushed forward, clutching Nina's arms as the shadows dragged her toward the fissure. Spirits! No! She is my only child, spare her! Take me instead, she wailed, her wrapper soaked with dust and tears. But the voice of Ani rumbled through the ground, deep and merciless. A mother's love turned blind, is also guilty. You shielded her wickedness. You fed her envy. And now you share in her fate. The earth shook harder. Smoke coiled around Adiz as well. She shrieked, clinging tighter to her daughter. Nina, in her desperation, turned her fury on Ifunanya. This is your doing. You stole my father. You stole the spirit's love. I will curse you forever. But her words dissolved into screams as the earth yawned wider. Flames flickered in the fissure, though no firewood burned. Okonkwo fell to his knees, pounding the ground with his fists. Mercy, Ani! Spare my household! The chief priest lifted his staff. Mercy belongs only to those who repent. The stepdaughter from hell has mocked kinship and scorned the earth. Justice must be complete. The villagers bowed, their faces pressed to the soil. None dared look up. The night sky turned black though the moon still hung above, red and swollen. The fissure beneath Nina widened until it seemed the earth itself wanted to swallow her whole. The shadows twisted into the form of hands hands of those wronged, hands of ancestors, hands of unseen spirits. Adiz screamed, "Please! My child is only misguided. Forgive her!" But Ani's voice echoed again. "A child who mocks family mocks the earth. A mother who feeds poison shares its bitterness. Their choices are carved, and cannot be uncarved." The villagers heard the crack of thunder, though no rain clouds were in the sky. The hands pulled harder, dragging Nina's feet into the fissure. Her nails scraped the dirt as she clawed for freedom. Her voice tore through the night. "I will never bow. Not to Ani, not to Ifunanya, not to anyone." Those were her last words before the shadows engulfed her completely. Adiz, still clutching her, was dragged down with her. The fissure sealed shut in an instant, leaving only silence and the faint smell of smoke. The crowd remained frozen, staring at the untouched earth. Only the sound of night crickets returned, as though nothing had happened. The next morning, the air felt lighter, as though a great burden had lifted. Okonkwo's yam barn no longer smelled of rot. The goats bleated, eating once again. Even the chickens laid eggs at dawn. The elders declared a cleansing ritual. Beneath the great Udala tree, they poured palm wine to the earth, broke kola nuts, and offered a goat to Ani. The chief priest lifted his staff. Balance has returned. The cursed ones are gone. But let us never forget, Ani's eyes miss nothing. The villagers nodded solemnly. They turned their eyes toward Ifunanya, who stood quietly beside her father. Her hands were folded, her face calm. "She has suffered much," the kola seller said. "Yet she bore it with patience. It is through her tears the land is healed." Okonkwo embraced Ifunanya, his voice breaking. "My daughter, forgive me. Blindness covered my eyes, but today I see. From this day forward, you are the heart of this household." The drums began softly, slow, respectful beats. Not for celebration, but for remembrance. And though Adiz and Nina's names were never spoken again, their shadows remained in every cautionary tale whispered to children at night. So, children of Umuala, remember this tale. The story of Nina, the stepdaughter from hell, and her mother, Adiz. A child who mocks kinship, poisons herself first. A mother who nurtures envy, drinks from the same calabash of sorrow. And no matter how clever lies may seem, the earth remembers. The ancestors remember. Ani remembers. Ifunanya's patience and purity were not weakness, but strength. For those who carry goodness, though mocked and beaten, will always be lifted when the spirits rise. And those who walk in bitterness, no matter how proud, will meet the weight of justice. For in the land of the living and the dead, there is no hiding from truth. The elders still end the tale with this saying: "When envy grows in the heart of a child, it burns the whole household. But when patience dwells in the heart of the wronged, it saves even the village." And so the story is told, by the fireside, beneath the moon, carried from one generation to the next. The tale of the evil stepdaughter, and how Ani herself rose to teach her the meaning of fear. And so the story is told, carried from one generation to the next, a tale of envy, patience, and the justice of the earth. The tale ends, but the spirits do not sleep, their whispers still linger in the dark. If you have walked with us this far, you are part of the circle now. Do not break it. Like this story, share it to keep the fire alive, and subscribe before the next tale finds you. For remember, some stories end at the fire, but others follow you home.